You're the first pro basketball player I know of.
Period. It started as an interest in high school, but after high school, my aunt, who is also a professional basketball player, took me to Kayole, where I could be an elite player and train in elite programs in Kayole. Shout out to Feba. That is where I started playing basketball, and from there, my passion to help the community just grew.
Actually,
Hi, Natasha.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm okay. So please tell us a little bit about who Natasha is. And don't be humble, please.
Well, my name is Natasha Chelsea. I am a professional basketball player and also a founder and CEO of a sports organization called Tasha Luv Foundation.
What do you do at Tasha Luv Foundation?
Well, at Tasha Luv Foundation, we short form try to make life soft for the athletes, but majorly we mobilize resources for community sports, especially those in the informal settlements, because personally, my basketball started in the communities, and shout out to Feba. That is where I started playing basketball, and from there, my passion to help the community just grew bigger and bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your basketball journey because, in the Kenyan context at least, you're the first pro basketball player I know of.
Period.
And I know we don't have many of those.
Yeah.
How did you even start playing basketball?
Well, for me, it started as an interest in high school. I played basketball in high school, but after high school, my aunt, who is also a professional basketball player, took me to Kayole, where I could be an elite player and train in elite programs in Kayole. And then from there, it just took its root from there, and I was a pro player after some hard training and everything.
Define pro player.
A pro player is somebody who is consistent in what they're doing, in their workouts, in the games, in showing up, no matter what, whether you're tired, whether you don't have the resources, whether your mood is not in for it, that is an elite player.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you've played across different countries, right?
Yeah.
So does playing in Kenya look different from playing in Uganda, from Tanzania, from South Africa, from Paris? Is it different?
Yes, it's definitely different because you get recognition. Competing in different countries means you meet different athletes, different coaches, different federations are able to recognize your name. And it gives a sense of, especially being a woman, we break barriers because in most countries, female sports are low and visibility is low. So for them to see an international player who's a woman coming to play in their country and they're paid for that, then it's kind of a goal achieved for me playing in an international country.
Okay, I love that. And now, as a woman in professional basketball, does it influence how people perceive you?
Definitely. In our male-dominated sports, women tend to be scrutinized more because for a man, you're easily recognized based on your performance. You don't have to do anything extra. But for a woman, personally, I tend to divert into leadership and ministry, advocacy, mentorship, empowerment, to just be recognized. And I think that's crazy. I wish it had been different for everybody else and the coming generations, that no matter your gender and no matter your skill level, you're able to have access to exposure and get the right information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you feel the need to have to work maybe twice as harder as men would to just prove yourself?
Definitely. Being a high achiever and having an organization as a woman, so many people will downplay me because I'm a female until you get to know my brain, and then you're like, oh, wow, she's actually smart, But the first appearance that she's a female, they're like, a female? A female can't boss me. A female can't be here giving us guidelines and we should follow them, and she should expect us to play by the book.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. You need to be professional at all times because they're going to try and persuade you and move you outside your lane and purpose.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I know you don't just play, but you coach basketball as well, right?
Yeah.
And you coach both men and women,
yeah.
right? So first of all, as a player itself, do people judge you based on just your appearance?
Funny enough, no. All the groups that I have been able to coach, they do listen because they've seen my journey. They know that I am a product of the game and I've been very successful through the game. So through this, I'm able to empower a lot of kids, a lot of youth ask me a lot of questions. And it's kind of fulfilling to know that the life I'm living is a solution for somebody else, you know?
Yeah.
And coming from a well-off family and I'm being able to be supported by my family for everything that I want. I can fly out whenever I want. I can do whatever I want. To be able to get this information for these kids, I will go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's talk about your foundation, right? Tasha Luv Foundation.
Yes.
Please give us a bit more context into what you're trying to build.
I am trying to make the development processes of athletes and the surrounding staffs of the sports industry easy, because outside the courts, these are humans. They need to be well treated. They need to be taken care of. Their mental health needs to be in check for them to be their best selves. We are currently playing with a group of people who are very depressed. The mental health is not stable. They're not financially sustainable, and the income that they get from the game is not really sustainable for their families. These are people who have kids. They might be the breadwinners in their family, and it's kind of depressing that you're able to play this game with your heart, and it's not giving you back the same energy, you know.
Yeah.
And it's something that can be adjusted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that setting up a sports foundation is not very easy.
It's not.
And I was having a conversation with you, and you're pretty young, but you have a board.
Yeah,
You have
board
a
of
board
trustees.
already, a board of trustees. You have employees. You have just people who ensure that things are running for the organization, including even access to funding and finance,
Right.
which is a big challenge here in Africa, especially. So, how do you even go about setting a board of trustees?
I said, to
your
know
age?
me is to know love. Everybody who's working for me is either my friend or somebody who I've worked with, somebody who I have was associated with. So when I started my organization, people just started texting me and they were like, oh, I do this and I want to help you. Oh, I do this, I want to help you. And I was like, guys, I don't even have the money yet. But they believe, they were like, whatever you do really turns into gold. And we want to be part of that because you want to help the community. And that's making the world a better place. So why not? I kind of found my tribe with my friends. We think about the same thing. We work towards the same goal. So working with them is kind of like having a basketball team of 5 people working towards the same goal, you know. We want to help the community. So it turned out great. And also my network really helped me. I've worked under the NBA Africa, Junior NBA, BAL for her, and the exposure that I really get there, we realize that there is a gap of empowerment and mentorship for the athletes, because you tend to think it's easy to just practice and go to the court. It's more than that. There's the food, the shelter, the healthcare, the mental stability. So we really need to check into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And in your view, with regard to visibility, do you think women in sports are given the same visibility as men in media, in pay, in opportunities?
Real talk, I don't think so, because even first world countries like the US, WNBA is complaining about low payments. So that means that the females are being identified to like low payments because of their gender. And I don't think that's right, because it's the same sport. We do the same thing. If I go for a layup, they go for a layup. The only difference is the manpower and the effort that the men put for their performance. But technically, it's the same thing. The same effort that I put in is the same that the man will do. If I go into the court for 3 hours, they go into the court for 3 hours. So for them to just have already a standard set that women cannot be paid as much as men is really depressing and oppressing for the coming generations. They're like, okay, I want to play basketball, but for what? I'm not going to be paid as much as I see LeBron who's being paid, or maybe get the media visibility that they do and endorsements, and that's not really fair for all the athletes.
Yeah. So what do you think we can do to change the situation for people, for young people coming up and getting into these spaces?
I think more exposure. There's a lot of exposure for the athletes, so more exposure into the kids. Do not gatekeep, guys. If you see opportunities for a neighbor next to you, why don't you give them? Because even if they're doing the same thing as you, the result will never be the same. You'll never use the same recipe. So it's just a simple thought of making the world a better place. And yeah,
Okay.
that's just it.
Okay. If you could change one thing about how women in sports are perceived in Kenya, what would it be?
It's best for more opportunities and recognition for women in sports, to enable motivation for the younger generation and anybody who is interested in playing sports. Because actually, sports is a really interesting thing to do and have as part of your routine, because it can pay your bills, guys. Sports actually do pay bills. It can give you network. You can find yourself through sports. And that's a good thing. Also, pay and resources. Give women opportunities to have more educational scholarships, more chances to play in clubs. International teams should call up players they see online. People do work hard to be on these sports. So yeah, if you pay them more, they are more motivated to become better. And also, cultural differences should also be adjusted in a way that all cultural practices are inclined in a way that women can play sports. Not that women are supposed to stay home, women are supposed to do this and do that. Women can play basketball and become great leaders in this sport.
Love it. And by any chance, can you share a story where sharing your own journey opened doors beyond basketball?
Yeah, recently I went into a talk with Kenyan law firm, and we were talking about gender-based violence and rape and defilement in sports. And I happened to share a story that is a case study for me, where there is a 9-year-old boy who I coach, and this one time the boy was early for practice, and I was like, oh, so you really like the sport, but that was not the case. When I actually talked to the boy, I found out that his dad had been raped him over and over again before that, and he was actually in pain, so he didn't want to go back home. And when we talked to him, and he was like, yeah, I don't want to go back home because daddy does this, daddy touches me here, daddy does this. And you can imagine you raping a 9-year-old boy, what that does to him. He's already a child. He hasn't lived nothing. He doesn't know anything. So growing up, that is already traumatizing for them. And also, when they had that, they came on board and they were ready to offer services for the athletes who are victims of rape and defilement. And we are able to put therapy sessions for them to be able to relieve and express their traumatic experiences and to know how to react to these traumas and how to heal themselves. And I think that was the best partnership I've ever done yet, to be able to help these kids learn basketball differently.
Do you see maybe any differences in how boys and girls in disadvantaged communities are encouraged to pursue sports?
Well, growing up in the informal settlements, I learned that for them it's a non-negotiable. If you're good in sports, you actually have to be serious with it, because it pays your school fees. It gives you money to feed people back at home. It secures a job for you. So for them, it's really a non-negotiable. They actually have to be really good at the sport, because that is all they know and that is all they have.
The question here is it that women are told wewe enda ufanye house chores and then boys are the ones who are encouraged to play basketball, or are they given equal opportunity in your experience?
Different areas that I've affiliated with work differently. You tend to find that some areas they freely let both genders play basketball, and other areas we definitely have the cases where girls need to leave practice early to go and make lunch, or they need to stay home and clean the house in the morning, so they tend to miss some part of the sessions of training. And that is very disadvantageous for them, because when the boys get to stay on the court the whole day, and for them they're on the court for half a day, they don't really get to learn anything. So in terms of performance, the men tend to become more energetic and put a lot of effort because they know so much and they've learned so much. So if we actually let these girls play basketball and learn that this is a safe space, because honestly, I'm a product of basketball. I've gone to school through basketball. I am working because of basketball. So yeah, and I'm here, I'm a CEO and I'm a girl. So what is stopping you as a parent to not let your child play the game of basketball, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Could you maybe tell us a bit about where people can find your foundation, how they can support what you're trying to do, and maybe social media pages to follow?
You can find my foundation page on any social media and website, Tasha Luv, Luv, Love with Luv, Tasha Luv Foundation, and also my social medias are Tasha Luv across all social networks.
Okay. It's been a pleasure having you. It's been nice.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.